All right, it's a new week. It is Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, whatever the hell day you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcast, YouTube, TikTok clip, Instagram clip,
Yep.
you name it, bro. We're everywhere. We're
We're
everywhere,
all over
man.
the place, baby. We're all over the
All
place.
over the place. Austin Ollie, a sports podcast. Cowboys win, Eagles lose. There's a shit ton to talk about college football, whether you like it or not. Top four, you tell us. MVP conversations. The Mavericks suck again, kind of. I guess it's up to you, whatever you want to say. Baseball winter meeting starts, and some shit went down. So yeah, man, how's it going for you?
It's been better, a little sick, a little under the weather.
Ugh. Yeah.
Not ideal, but we're fighting through it. It's another flu game for me, I guess. But I feel all right. I feel better than I did this weekend, which is good things. So it's kind of easy to stomach when the Cowboys win and Eagles lose, and a lot of good stuff is going on in the sports world, at least from the football wise. So, what about you, boss? Anything cool?
Nah, man. I mean, I was able to see Cowboys win, and I said it in the last podcast. If you guys listened to us, I was saying that, I mean, the Seahawks, our offense is pretty good. If they lose games, it's because they don't score points, but they scored points in this game. Scores points, and then I said if they could score 20, I was like, I feel like I'm pretty confident in this offense to score more than they did. And I mean, it was a nail-biter, but they did it. And shit, the Eagles lost, man. I mean,
it feels good.
I'm happy.
It feels real good.
It feels so good.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I guess we can kind of get into the Cowboys. I don't know. Did you do anything of note this weekend? Probably not, right? Just chill.
I mean, shit. It was a weekend. What do you think I did?
Yeah, drank
again.
This man's crazy.
I need to stop. I can't. I don't know when.
Dry
the
January's
last
a good
weekend
cutoff.
that didn't go out.
Yeah, got it like that. That's crazy.
Don't ask my bank
Anyway,
account
Cowboys.
about that.
Yeah,
Cowboys.
Anyway, Cowboys. 9-3, big time dub. Like we kind of mentioned, the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday night. So it's been a little bit of time since
slept a bit.
Since we had a game, but big win. I think it's kind of weird. As bad as the defense looked, which they haven't really looked that bad all season, I don't think, in games. But I didn't ever feel like we didn't have a shot at winning. And I think that's because of the man behind center, Dakota Prescott. I think that just something about him is it just feels like he's like flipped the switch and it just feels like he's successful and he knows what he's doing. He's making the right play. Even when he's like throwing an incompletion, like that ball to CeeDee Lamb across the middle in the end zone, like triple coverage, you think like, oh, what the hell is he doing? He's throwing a ball in triple coverage. But if you look at it from the end zone view, it's a dime.
Dude, he put it right on the dot.
Right on the
money, dude.
And the only place that his guy could have caught it. And so I think things are just like slow. Like they're just processing wise, everything is just processing super easy for him. His body's in the right spot. He's matured to the point where like his mind is there, his body's there, the team is there, and he's got the right pieces around him to succeed. And man, it just feels like anytime we're going out there, we're going to be able to score with everybody, which is something that I don't know if we've ever been able to say. And I feel like on offensive side, you would always feel like there's some sort of mistake or interception that's going to come or fumble that's going to happen. But like Dak again, like 3 TDs, 0 interceptions. It just feels like he's just playing the best ball of his career right now. So
playing so good, man. He's playing so good. I thought it was crazy how he didn't even break 300. He got 299 yards. Why did I felt like we threw the ball like 80% of the time, and you're telling me he didn't throw over 300? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And I think he ended up averaging like 7-point-something yards an attempt, which whatever. I that's fine. But I mean, still, like you have somebody like CD, 12 receptions, 116 yards, and a tud, 2 carries for 30 yards. Big Ferg. Not only did he have 6 receptions, 77 yards, and a tud, he also gained a new son in Jamal Adams, which is big time.
He was also standing on business.
He was standing on business. He had to let him know. He bowed up, big dog. So, yeah, man, I think it just like all around on the offense side of the ball, like it looks pretty damn good. I mean, you probably leave a few points on the board, which is what it is, right? But I think that on the offensive side we look good. It's just the defensive side where it feels like we've been rolling and then just kind of taking a step back is pretty tough to look at.
Yeah, but it happens though. I mean, with the defense, I know a lot of. I mean, the media's gonna find ways to just be like, all right, Cowboys win, but blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it was never in doubt with the defense. Like it was always like, oh, they won, but like offense was in with blah blah blah. And at this point, it was like, oh, but should we worry about the defense? And I'm like, I don't think so because this doesn't happen constantly. I mean,
no,
shit. And like what I saw is that the time of possession in this game was crazy. So there was no excuses of like, oh, offense couldn't stay on the field, so like defense was like over there huffing and puffing.
or anything
like
that,
no,
yeah.
bro. The Cowboys and Dak Prescott were running long ass drives for you to be just dry ass chilling on the bench, and he tells you to come out, all right, make a stop, which they didn't. Neither team made a stop in this game. There was no punts in this game.
I think the only change of possession that we really had was DeRon Bland's interception.
Yeah, the interception,
which I think was the only big play on defensive side. Which I guess, I mean, at that point, right, is kind of the play of the game. Or
yeah,
not the play of the game.
Even though
you didn't,
we didn't even score points off of it. I think, right?
Yeah.
Or no, I mean, yeah, we got
either, but
field. I mean, yeah, I think we got
a field goal. I think it was the field goal that put it 38-35. I think is what it was. But. And that's where I kind of want to move to DeRon Bland, too, is that's 2 weeks in a row he's kind of had a bad – I don't want to say a bad week, but he's given up a lot of yards. I think against Curtis Samuel on Thanksgiving, gave up like 8 receptions for 110 yards, which is the first time he's allowed over 100 yards all season. And then just to have a rough night like he did against DK Metcalf, I think he had 179 yards and 2 tuds on him, which is just absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
I think DK is just kind of a different kind of physical receiver, and I think we kind of mentioned it, right? Like what DK we were going to see, or was it going to be the DK that was like in his head arguing with officials, or was it going to be the guy that's just going to like physically body somebody, and that's just what it was. Was what it was. Yeah. So at the end of the day, right? We make the plays. You can't really be that upset. I mean, there's always things to kind of like pick at and be like, oh.
Yeah.
What are you going to be upset about? But I mean, at the end of the day, right? Win's a win. That's all you can be excited about. You're 9-3. You're 1 game back in the division, and you play the division leader. You're next week at home. 6-0 at home. I think we have like a 13.
And you put up at least 40 points
streak at home.
How many times? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I think this is the right time to be going. I think this is the stretch of the season where we've like been saying like this is the prove it stretch of the season. Got what? I mean, Eagles at home, Bills, Dolphins on the road, Lions at home in the next 4 games.
Yeah.
So I think this is kind of like the make it or break it of the season. I think we're pretty well locked into the playoffs, I would say. But still, like, you want to get out of these next. If you get out of these next 4 games 3-1.
That's massive. I think 3-1 is massive.
You're sitting there 12-4 with 1 game left against Washington. I think that you finish 13-4, 12-5. I think you have a really, really good shot at the division right now.
Well, depending on the Eagles got a really easy schedule. Sadly, they already play their death schedule. So I'm just praying that bad things happen to them and they just like it's football and they keep getting away with these cheap ass games and just barely scratching through, and hopefully it just comes back and bite them in the ass. But I don't know.
In my opinion, it's crazy. Like, especially there's been so much commentary on how any game in Philadelphia, right? They're getting all these calls from the refs, and you finally see it this weekend when they get their back blown out by the 49ers, and now they're not getting all the calls. They're just getting absolutely obliterated. And it's like, oh, what shit can you talk now? I mean, yeah, the Cowboys got blown out, but that was in week 5 of the NFL season. Not, what are we in, week 13? I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, we've been saying it all season. I think the Eagles are fraudulent. They've been sneaking out games to win. I think we've been saying that they're like just not winning games in convincing fashion. And you play a real team, and look what happens. So, I mean, obviously, right, you can kind of say the same thing about the Cowboys, too, right? Like, we haven't really beaten a team with a winning record. Best team that we've beat probably is the Chargers, which haven't really won anything.
Put up 6 points against the
I think we're handling
Patriots.
Yeah, I think we're handling business, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is the time that if we can make a statement this week, it's the time to make a statement.
Yeah, because if you go out and go,
I don't know how
let's say
confident.
4-0. Let's say you go 4-0, right? Like 3-1 is massive. 2-2 is like I think what you're expecting. I want to say because you have the road
That's
games.
the minimum. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2
I
and
think
2 is
2
the
and 2 is the
minimum, and
minimum that you
3-1's
can do.
good, and 4-0 is just like, what the hell is the media going to say about it now? Like, I just want to
They're
hear,
gonna make up
because there
some
is going to
excuse
be an
like they always
excuse.
have been.
There is going to be an excuse. If the Cowboys go 4-0 and this run, there's going to be excuses, and I just want to know what it's going to be.
And my biggest problem is, right, there's this whole media narrative about the fact that the Cowboys haven't beaten a team with a winning record. Well, say we, for whatever reason, right, we lose this week, and then you go in and beat the Bills, who they've been like, just for whatever reason, just all in love with the Bills, Josh Allen, all this stuff. Like, oh, Bills don't have a winning record, or the Bills are a 500 team. Like, the Cowboys are just a lose-lose situation, and it's getting to the point where it's fucking ridiculous, dude. Like, later on I'll bring it up, but there's been so many stupid ass quotes about.
Yeah, no, I was like, I wanted to bring it up, but I'll wait for you towards the end for the.
I'm gonna go on a rant. I'm going on a rant later, and I'm gonna get worked up just talking about it.
As you should, though. As you should, man.
But
yeah,
anyway,
it's actually so stupid. But we'll get to that.
Disgusting. Yeah, disgusting. I think the other big Cowboys news is that Darius Leonard, free agent linebacker, went and visited the Cowboys, went and visited the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
News came out today on Monday that he's going to sign with the Eagles, and I say good riddance. I was looking at some of the film. Obviously, I got excited. You see like an all-pro linebacker that's on the free agent market, going to cost a minimum contract. Then you see like, oh, well, there's a reason why the Colts wanted to get rid of him. The Colts.
And he's the same draft class as Van Der Esch, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think he was a second-round pick or whatever, but just isn't moving the same. Laterally, just can't really move. I think he's had back surgery or something of that nature.
Yeah, I heard it's like there's some stuff for like medical stuff going on with him.
So I'm not like super upset that we kind of lose out on that. I think obviously, right, like it's a big deal because that's a veteran presence. They've played a lot of games in the NFL, and I think linebacker wise, we really don't have that veteran presence, especially with Van Der Esch out. We have Rashaan Evans off of the practice squad, who's just played a lot of games and played big time football, but still like, and you're relying on guys like Damon Clark and Marquise Bell, who are two like young guys. So it would have nice to have that veteran presence, but I mean Darius Leonard's a liability in pass coverage. I think that we have guys that can move laterally that are like stopping the run. I think we're better than not signing Darius Leonard, I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand. Like I think it would have been cool to have him as a depth piece. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, what he wanted was, I don't know what like his like priorities was like championship team, playtime, and money was really at the very end. He really didn't give a shit about how much he was getting paid. So, contender, Cowboys, Eagles, knocked it off. Yep. I think what it was playing time. And I think the Cowboys were straight up with him and were just like, hey, man, like we have our set of guys. You're going to be, I mean, coming in when like, I think he was playing like 80% of snaps with the Colts. It's probably going to be less if he was here with the Cowboys. And like you said, I mean, he just doesn't, is not as physical as he used to be, or he can't move as he was able to before. And I'm pretty sure the Eagles they're pretty, what's it called? Like not that much depth. They're pretty.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of. They're not super deep at the linebacker position.
Yeah, at the linebacker position. So I think they promised him more time there.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys offered him like a practice squad deal and be like, hey, like we'll elevate you the 3 games or whatever, and then put you on the full active roster in 3 weeks or whatever. So I bet that was probably the difference or something of that nature if I were to speculate. But I think you're right. I think it's just. I think the Cowboys are cool with the guys that we got. I think they're cool with Damon Clark and Marquise Bell and having that like Rashaan Evans and stuff like that. So I think that they realize that he's not like as much of an upgrade as he would be, and it kind of is what it is, right? When it comes to them versus the Eagles. So at the end of the day, I hope he plays against us because if that's the guy that walks into our building and then walks out and decides to go with our division rival or biggest one that we're going to. I hope we stick it to
That's
him.
what I think. It hurts a little bit more too, because you're fighting with the division rival. So I mean, you'll see if it ends up paying off. I think props to, or we don't know. Like I'm saying, it's all assumptions, or it's all just what if, or let's see what happens. But let's say this goes bad for the Eagles, or he just doesn't play as much, or whatever. Then props to Jerry Jones for not, or the whole like front office for just not pulling the trigger because like you said, like look at this guy's resume, look at this. Oh, and the Eagles want him, so let's overpay or let's whatever we have to do. And I'm sure at some point they also talked about cap space. I mean, we still have to pay Dak Prescott. His contract is going to end up next year, I think. Dak Prescott,
and I think they're talking
CeeDee
about
Lamb,
extension for
and Michael
him.
Parsons.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
Think about
that's a lot of money.
So they're going to try to save every single penny until, because I don't know how they're going to do it, but they'll find a way.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I guess looking ahead, we got the Eagles. Kind of already said it. Eagles on Sunday Night Football prime time in Dallas. Want to give it a prediction for that, or you want to kind of let it eat? Let's sit.
No, go ahead. I think we're favorites, right? Have you looked at the lines? I think we're like 3-point favorites.
I haven't looked at the line.
I think we opened up as 3-point favorites. I'm, believe it or not, I'm pretty confident in this Dallas Cowboys team.
Come on now.
I'll go back to how you said before at the beginning of the Seahawks game. You said I didn't see how we were gonna lose this game, but I saw it as in how are we gonna win this game. Seeing Geno Smith sling that thing, and we talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he just decided to
show up.
Decided to show up, and close call on the touchdown that gets overturned. I mean, they still scored off of it. There was that drive. They scored 3 touchdowns, and only 1 counted.
Yeah,
I don't remember that with all those flags.
Yeah, 3 plays in a row.
So he came up, and then you have DK Metcalf that catches. He has 6 receptions, and half of those are touchdowns.
Yeah, it's
for 130-something yards. So I was just like, man, this is not going our way. And I'm just like, please, Dak. Like this is your legacy on the line. No matter what you do, I don't care. But it's either gonna go good or bad. This is what people are bitching about that you're not able to do. So go ahead and do it. And he fucking did it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Once I saw our defense get put up like that, I was just like, dude. And Deron Bland was absolutely just getting cooked, my guy. But
yeah,
back to the Eagles. I just fucking hate them, bro. And we're at home. We look unstoppable. And I think this is the hottest it's ever been. And I just hope they keep their shit talking to a minimum because last time they talked shit, they got embarrassed by San Francisco. So let's just let football do the talking and Cowboys win.
I like that. I don't know if I've said this before on here, but there's one coach that I hate more than every single coach in the NFL, and it is that punk, smug Nick Sirianni. Something about his face, bro. It's just like
he's such a pussy.
From him, like the tears like flowing in the Super Bowl, like catching that on camera. Just some of the cringy, like super cringy stuff that he's done in the past, especially against the Cowboys, like where it's like, I think he's had like a shirt that's like Cowboys Hate Week or something of that nature, just to get smacked by the Cowboys. Like,
remember that? Yep.
Just there's nothing more smug than Nick Sirianni. I hope that the Cowboys just shut him up this week. With that being said, right, like I think the Cowboys are playing some of the best ball that we've seen them ever play, at least in our lifetime.
Isn't that crazy to think about? I sat there and I was like, we've had some good football, like good Cowboy seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, Dak's rookie season, that was insane.
Obviously,
playoff run was not what we expected.
Yeah. The 14 season with Romo and Dez, and the Dez, like, did he catch it? Like that whole deal.
Oh
like,
my
we've
God.
We've had some unreal teams, but like still like thinking about it, like this might be the best team that I like can remember.
Best complete team, I think, if you put offense and defense. Because with Romo, he never had the defense. I feel like a lot of people talk about if Romo had this type of defense, like it would be a whole different story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we have both.
100%.
And I was really sitting there and I was just like, when has it also been this competitive in the division? Because I feel like we've kind of been, or at least for the last recent years, we've been known as, or just this whole NFC East being just trash.
Which is crazy because that was only one season.
Right, but I feel like, I don't know, I guess just from recent memory and just like, I don't know, people just kind of hold on to that. Because you have the Commanders. I mean, the Commanders haven't been good for a while. That's half of your division games are Commanders and Giants.
Commanders and Giants.
So I guess that's where they come into, and then the Eagles have just now started their whatever you want to call it from right now. I don't want to call it a dynasty, obviously, but
Yeah,
I mean, been to 2 Super Bowls in the
their
last
run. Yeah,
5-6 years or whatever
yeah,
it
something
is.
like that.
So I mean, you can call it
6
that.
years.
So yeah, definitely. And then Cowboys have just been, I mean, always competitive. And then I mean,
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I would hope we can get the number 1 seed, but it's gonna take some stuff to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyway, that is the Cowboys talk. We got one more topic that's kind of been, I guess it kind of is Cowboys talk in one way, but
Yeah.
it's the MVP discussion.
Ooh.
So right now, DraftKings put out, or I guess today, DraftKings put out a new betting favorite for the MVP, and that was Brock Purdy at plus 300. I want to say that FanDuel had Dak Prescott as the new odds-on favorite at plus 350, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, from what I heard, there was like
with that
two. I found there was only 2 betting sites that had Purdy as MVPs, and like more than almost all the other ones had Dak, from what I heard.
Yeah, it's about fucking time, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it is. Anyway, but with that being said, who are your current top 3 MVP discussion players at the moment?
I can't believe I put him on there, and I just said it. But my top 3, personally, I mean, I don't think he has a shot, but I think he deserves a shout. Even if he gets to 2,000 yards, it's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
He's had a crazy year.
I wish I would have said that because I think that you're 100% right. And I think that what Tua, because I, talking about me, I have 2 on my list, but I wish I would have said Tyreek Hill because I think that Tyreek is the one that's making the plays, whereas Tua is putting it.
Yeah.
He's making Tua do what it is. And I have a couple stats to back that up, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Tyreek, I mean, I don't want to say that this is like the weakest MVP voting, but you can kind of say because there's not one clear one yet.
Yeah.
Because from the looks of it, if you look at odds based, I mean, Jalen Hurts was leading the race, and you're telling me Jalen Hurts was having an MVP season?
No shot.
If you think about the previous MVPs like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and you're like, you run down the list and you go, Jalen Hurts with the stats that he was putting up, like, he's not having the greatest year. He's winning games, but he's not having the greatest year. And I just don't know what they consider MVP anymore. Because I feel like right now MVP is just every team's the best, you're winning because you're a quarterback. And it's really not the case. But I have Purdy on there too, sadly. I mean, I really didn't think, I have no idea who else I can put there. I didn't want to put Hurts on there.
Yeah.
But I mean, Purdy, what he's doing, I'm sure you'll get into the stats right here with like Yak and stuff like that, because that's what's carrying the fuck out of Purdy right now. And the coaching. And obviously Dak right now those are my top 3.
Number 3. Yeah. Yeah, obviously, I think there's a lot to be said, right? In my order, I have Dak, Tua, and then Purdy. You could say Josh Allen, and I wouldn't really say anything because statistically he's having a great year, aside from the turnovers, right? That's neither here nor there. But it's hard to put him in because the Bills are, 6-5, 6-7-5, something of that nature. Then you have Mahomes. Mahomes is having a great year, too. I think pretty good statistically. Chiefs are winning. But, I mean, just had not a great game last night against – did they beat the Chiefs? Or the
Packers? Yeah, the Packers won. And the thing is, I'm not going to – we'll keep it brief, but, like, for Mahomes, I don't even blame Mahomes. Yeah. He's got some garbage-ass receivers, dude.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's like he's got Quentin Johnston running out there or something.
Hey, yo. I don't want to defend that. But yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you could say that too, and I wouldn't really fault you. I think he's had a fair few number of turnovers this year, which is kind of tough. But a couple stats that I think were pretty interesting and kind of paint a picture is the QBs with Yak, so yards after completion, or yards after catch per completion. So the top 5 are Brock Purdy at 6.6 Yak per completion, Mahomes at 6, Tua at 6, and then Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson, which is very obviously showing that, hey, Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, and Tua have guys like for Purdy, it's Debo, it's Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, guys that are doing a lot of stuff for him, and he's giving them the ball
5-10-yard pass and just zoom.
He's letting them do
Exhibit A in Sunday's game.
Debo Samuel doing what he does. Mahomes, you have somebody like Travis Kelce that's making big plays. Tua, you have Tyreek Hill that's about to go for 2,000 yards. Like, you have guys that are making plays, whereas the bottom 5 are guys that don't have people that are making plays for them. Josh Dobbs is last. Bryce Young is second. Desmond Ridder, Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott at 4.7 yards
That's
after
crazy.
catch per completion. So that's a whole 2 yards behind Purdy per completion that he has, that his receivers aren't getting those yards for him. Oh, but Dak has more yards than Purdy. He has for sure more yards than Fields and Lamar, and I think he's pretty close with Patrick Mahomes and a little bit behind Tua. So just showing that guys are kind of, Brock Purdy's getting carried. Tua's getting carried by these guys like Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Debo, CMC, Kittle, Ayuk. Just guys are making plays for him.
This is a good ass team, bro.
It just kind of shows. It kind of shows, right? And then some analytically based stuff that shows that Dak is kind of that guy. Since week 6 in the NFL, so that's the last 7 or so weeks, Dak is currently first in expected points added per play at 0.368 points per play, whereas the next closest person is Brock Purdy, almost a full tenth of a point per play behind him at 0.273. Success rate, Dak has 55.7% of his plays are considered successful plays, positive yards, doing what they need to do. The next closest person is Brock Purdy. Again, right, it's those top 2 guys and just good teams that are constantly making good plays. But it's interesting to see that those 2 big stats, Dak is the one leading it. And then the last one I want to bring up is completion percentage over expected. These are passes that you think shouldn't be completed or should. And Dak currently is sitting at 6.6% completion percent over expected versus Russell Wilson, who's the next closest quarterback at 5.8%. So, right, a lot of stats, a lot of analytically based stats are just kind of proving Dak is that fucking guy right now. He's the guy that's kind of dominating the play. He's leading the team. He's playing at an elite level. And in my opinion, I don't understand why he's not the odds-on favorite, why he's not a minus favorite, because right now he's the guy that's kind of leading his team to be the best with, I don't want to say with the least, but he's the one making the plays. And aside from CD, Cooks has had one big game this season. Ferg has had, how many games has he had over 100 yards? Probably one, maybe at the most. He's had a big game. He had a big game, 70-something yards this week with a tud, but still, he's not just dominating games, not taking over games. Dak is the one that's kind of helping us do that. So that's my case for Dak Prescott for
also,
MVP.
No, I think so too. And again, I think it's going to determine what he does. Okay, so you think if the Cowboys lose next week to the Eagles, does that kick him out of contention for MVP?
If you're ESPN, yes. If you're ESPN, he's still not in contention.
Or if you're just the fucking media, yeah.
Yeah. I think it hurts it, obviously, right? Because it's a direct, I want to say a direct rival to the MVP right now.
I want to say it depends on how you lose too. Because if it's the Dak game that he had in Philly and you lost, which I don't think you lost that game because of Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, but I don't know if they're going to look at it like that or if they're just going to see an L.
They're going to see the loss. They're going to see the loss. And that's the bad thing. I think they're going to see the loss and they'll be like, oh, Dak Prescott couldn't do it. But he could have 400 yards, 4 touchdowns with no interceptions and making all the plays that he can. And for whatever reason, oh, Dak didn't do enough. And that's because of the fucking star on the helmet and it's because of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that and the media. I'm kind of looking this up right now. I'm pretty sure this is right, but who do you think was the last person to ever win the MVP for the Dallas Cowboys?
Probably Aikman, maybe.
Nope.
They're further back than that,
if I'm not mistaken. It's in that same area.
Yeah. I guess Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, one of those two.
Emmitt Smith. Smith. In 1993 was the last MVP winner for the Cowboys. Jeez. And if this is right, again, it says there's only been one MVP for the Cowboys ever.
That's crazy. And
it was Emmitt Smith. Yeah. And you think about all that stuff we for those five Super Bowl rings and all of the times we've gone back to back and all this, and it just shows you we've been hated for a very, very long time. So it's either MVP or Defensive Player of the Year. You got to pick one.
Yeah, give me MVP.
Yeah. Sorry, Deron Bland. Sorry, Michael Parsons. But I don't know what I would react
after this past week.
I saw it. You saw it on Twitter. I mean, with Aaron Rodgers when he's running around with the flag in the opening game. It's like Deron Bland depoy conversations.
It was quick, man.
I feel bad for him. Maybe he just can't play on Thursdays, dude. Back-to-back Thursdays, and he just can't do it. It feels weird. He's like, you know what? Why are we playing on Thursdays?
Yeah,
I like to play
that's a
on
good point.
Sundays.
I like
But we'll
that.
see this
I like
Sunday.
that.
We'll see this Sunday. Yeah, come on.
DPOY on games that are played on Sundays. How about that?
Boom. It's like
Done.
MVP for Kirk Cousins when games are played at noon.
Hey, Kirk Cousins is
Just
still
like that.
leading a lot of these analytical races too. He's up there with a lot of these. He was having a good season.
Yeah,
Before
he was
got
having a pretty good year without having Justin Jefferson too. So I'll give him props.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
eh,
Anyway,
yeah.
well, we've talked a lot about the NFL today. I want to move to the
did.
Mavs. A little bit more depressing than the Cowboys.
Let's do it. Yeah, we'll keep this short and sweet because it's regular season, so not much to talk about. I was at the Mavericks game.
Yep.
This the first one that we talked about was on Tuesday. It was against the Rockets. It was a really good game, competitive game. Covered the spread barely because there was like a foul towards the end of the game, and Luka got his 41 points. So that was awesome. And just seeing Luka and Dylan Brooks go at it in person,
I love it.
was the best thing ever. It was just like Dylan Brooks is. I mean, you know Dylan Brooks. Everyone knows Dylan Brooks. He's the villain of the NBA, and everyone sees him. And Luka was just all up on his shit. He get a board, look at him, yell at him, go up to him, get him a move, and just it was awesome, dude. You saw that, and Kyrie really pulled up pretty late to the party. Typical Kyrie, just fourth quarter guy.
Yep.
He had like 7 points going into the third, and he's on a crazy run towards the end of the third. Fourth quarter was him. He was putting up shots. Darren Jones Jr. too, right there, 15 points, and it looks like to every successful Mavs dub, you need Derrick Jones Jr. to put up some points. Yeah. And then you play the next game without Luka against Memphis. And I first saw that he was out for personal reasons. Yeah, everyone in the DFW is becoming a dad, and I heard Austin's coming up next too.
No. Slow that down now.
Dang, that was a lot of no's, bro. You good?
No.
That was a lot of no's. Oh my gosh, dude, it's just a joke, bro. It's okay. It's okay.
No.
But yeah, so no, news comes out that Luka. Well, first that Luka wasn't gonna play. In my opinion, I was just like, oh, they're trying to keep him healthy. Blah blah blah. He's played every single game, and we're off 2 days off in a row. It's like, oh, if he gets this off, blah blah blah. And then Luka, as a kid, had no idea she was even pregnant. Did you even know she was pregnant?
No clue. I was like looking back, and I went to back when they were like when he proposed to her, and like you couldn't even tell that she was pregnant then, and that was in July. So I was 5 months ago. I was like,
damn.
I was like, I didn't even know. Had no idea. So
yeah,
pretty shocked, but
nothing good happened in that. Yeah, nothing happened in that Memphis game. I didn't even watch it. I totally forgot they were playing. Lose by 14.
I've been a bad Mavs fan. I've been a bad Mavs fan this year.
I try to watch. I mean, I'm into one Mavs game already. I'm gonna try to go to hopefully I go to the Mavs Houston game in Houston.
Ooh,
the weekend like of Christmas. Yeah, it's a Friday, so I have that day off. So I'm gonna try to go over there and watch that game. But yeah, I mean, I saw. Did you see everyone that was out against OKC this past week?
Yeah, there was a good amount of people. I think there was basically everybody but Luka and Derek Lively.
Yeah, so hear me out. Kyrie Irving out, right foot soreness. Tim Hardaway Jr. out, back spasms. Dante Exum, personal. He had a kid too, actually. So
yeah, also
I don't know what happened 9 months ago in Mavs history. Go ahead and rewind it, look it back, and see what happened that they had to go crazy for.
Yeah.
Josh Green, right elbow sprain, out. Maxi Kleber, out. So that was everyone. And I wasn't watching this game because I was like, why am I going to watch Luka play with a bunch of scrubs? I think Luka had like 20 points at the half, and I was like, yeah, sounds about right. And you were down, I think the biggest deficit was 26 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And then I saw that they brought it within like 8. And I was about to head out because it was Saturday night. And I pulled it up on my iPad, started watching. And they're like on a 20-something run. And then they go to like 24, 26, 28, 30-point run, 30-0 run for the Mavericks. And they still end up losing.
When I woke up and I saw, I thought that was like a fake graphic. I thought that was like they were bullshitting, whatever. And that's why I sent it to you. I was like, no way, did this happen? Because like you would think 30 points, like that's unreal.
Yeah, it was a franchise record.
Playing.
I'm not sure what the NBA record is because 30-0 is crazy.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But yeah, and Luka had obviously a great game, and then dude, Derek Lively, dude. You see his stat line?
Unreal.
2016, 20 points and 16 rebounds, and a slamma-jamma on Chet Holmgren, bro. It was insane. And he had 6 blocks too. On top of that,
and then 6 of those were offensive rebounds too. Like that's just unbelievable, like awesome. So I think it's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of know that when Seth Curry gets like I think he started and had like 30 something minutes played, and he hasn't really played all
36
season.
minutes. Yeah, he got
Yeah,
12
and that's
points.
when you kind of know.
He hit some really good threes like down the stretch too.
Yeah, his
Some crucial
plus
threes.
minus was pretty high. And then AJ Lawson, I think, is a two-way guy, maybe, or like on the end of our bench, had a plus minus of 9 and played like 18 or 19 minutes. Like when you see something like that happening, that's when you kind of know like, oh hey, like we got a lot of guys missing. So
yeah, from what I was hearing too, they were saying that I think AJ Lawson was playing really good. Obviously, like I said, I didn't watch the game, but the commentators were really raving about him.
Yep.
And towards the end of the game, I don't know if you saw, it was Derrick Jones Jr. that it was an inbound pass, and he lost it, and Luka was frustrated. There's like a clip of him saying like, "What the fuck is he doing?" And then, yeah, that's basically when to the game. It was just a turnover off with like timeout, and then. Yeah, and they talk about plus or minuses. I had my friend was like, "Bro, Jaden Hardy, you have Jaden Hardy. He's only playing 15 minutes." And I was like, "Yeah, he had a plus minus minus 17 on the floor." Yeah. I don't know how you. I think his offensive
rating was 66 when the average is 100.
He also had 5 personal fouls in 15 minutes.
Unbelievable. I don't know what happened, man. It sucks. He was balling last year.
I didn't watch the game, so I don't know, but. And dude, you like you said, you have a minimized bench, right?
Yeah.
And if you would have told me last year that Dwight Powell only played 4 minutes,
yeah, it's unbelievable. That's crazy.
He played 4 minutes, and Rashawn Holmes only played 5 too. Derek Lively played 39 minutes. Luka played 46 minutes. Luka only missed 2 minutes of that game. He only missed 2 minutes.
That's because we had none of the scrubs there. That's tough.
36, 15, and 8 from your boy Luka.
Can you imagine, like, just to see that, like, the inbound pass, and then you're, like, grinding. You're on the court for 30 or 46 of the 48 minutes, and you see that happen, you're like, I'm fucking done. Just get me out of here, bro.
Yeah, he was pissed. He was pissed. And then Grant Williams with a start off really hot. I mean, we knew that
lately.
We knew we didn't get him for his offense, but he was starting really nice. We were talking about his 3-point percentage. We were talking about how he was just slinging that thing. And then he has 5 points in this game. So I don't know when it's going to go back to. I don't know, but hopefully the team comes back healthy. And, I mean, they went on their good stretch of games, but they're about to get to that 20-game mark, and they have a pretty easy schedule coming up, hopefully. I mean, they got the Jazz, Portland, and the Grizzlies. So hopefully get their revenge on that. Yeah. So just get everyone healthy again.
Yeah, I need that. I need that for sure. So, well, I don't have anything else NBA-wise. You want to move to a little Ollie and Outfield? Kind of recap a little what's going on with the winter meetings and stuff like that?
Let's do it, man. Everyone get ready. Get your studs in. Get your gloves out. It is off-season baseball. And it's supposed to get swinging. And it's kind of been slow still. I mean, yesterday I think was their first official day of winter meetings. Just a quick free agency signings. Luis Severino, former Yankee, stays in New York. Goes to the Mets for a 1-year, $13 million contract. Pretty good, decent pitcher for the back end for the Mets. So that's nice. Also, Joe Kelly. He's going back to the Dodgers. Didn't see for how much, but he's staying there. He had a pretty bad start of the season with the White Sox. And then once he got traded to the Dodgers, he finished with like a sub-2 ERA or something like that. So it was pretty good. And then Mookie Betts also looks like to be the primary second baseman for the Dodgers. Unless they find someone.
Season, right?
Yeah, he played outfield and in the infield. He played both.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
I give him props. Those are two very different positions. So yeah. As of right now, I think he's going to be the primary second baseman. So that's pretty cool. And that was also a big trade. It was a 5-player trade with the Mariners again. So it looks like they're dumping another contract with Jared Kelenic. He goes to the Braves. So it's Jared Kelenic, Marco Gonzalez, a pitcher, and Evan White, a first baseman. I think that's just kind of bummy. Yeah, but Kelenic was the guy who broke his foot kicking a cooler in July. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, okay, I remember.
Yeah, so that was him. Marco Gonzalez was announced, or the trade happened yesterday or 2 days ago, and Atlanta's set to say that he's not going to stay. He's going to be part of another trade piece. So his time there will be little to none. So don't get your Photoshop pictures of him yet.
Don't get the jersey.
Yeah, don't get the jersey. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to have a Marco Gonzalez jersey anyways. But he had a terrible year this year. So another salary dump again. So whatever they receive is 2 right-handers. They get another pitching. So it looks like they've been getting a lot of pitchers recently in the last trade too. So we'll see that. Maybe it's the Rangers. Jackson Cowher, I don't know, and Cole Phillips.
Yeah.
Cowher was acquired from KC last month. So also him, don't get a jersey. Yeah, just got acquired from the KC. He's a former top 100 prospect, and he was a first-round pick in 2018. Phillips is a 20-year-old. He hasn't played in the MLB. Coming back from Tommy John, but he is the number 7 prospect for the Braves. So pretty good potential in there. And after you guys remember, I talked about it, I think 2 weeks ago with the owner saying that he wanted to get back. Yeah, and when the owner wanted to get back to not striking out, because I think the Mariners were one of the top strikeout people. So they had they got rid of hitters that struck out more than 30% of the time in 2024. So they're parting ways with 4 of those guys. It was Eugenio Suarez, Jared Kelenic, I forgot the outfielder's name.
Was the guy from the other trade? Yeah.
Yeah, so they got rid of 4 guys that led the team in strikeouts, and they said, you know what, you guys are bummy. It looks like they're trying to do some money ball shit. They're just looking at the numbers and go, all right, you guys struck out a lot. That means you're not getting on base. Get the fuck out. So they're trying to get some more contact guys. So there's a lot of holes to fill. And this also brings into consideration if that they're trading for Juan Soto. Maybe something to put out there. I would hope not, because that's a division rival. And I would not want to face Juan Soto
in that many times.
And Julio Rodriguez. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that, because Juan Soto is still supposedly going to be on the go. And last but not least, or actually, no, okay, we'll talk about some more things, but Jackson Chourio, does that sound familiar or no?
Yeah. I saw this story. That was kind of unreal to think about what's going on with that.
Yeah, so it's actually not, I mean, this is pretty cool. It's smart. It might end up paying it, or it's going to end up paying off, like I said. He's a 19-year-old. He's going to be making a minimum of $82 million over the next 82 years and a max of $142.5 million over 10 years if he maxes out on incentives.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And on club options. This guy hasn't touched the field in MLB level yet. But he is the number 2 prospect. Yeah. Double A, he's the number 2 prospect behind Jackson Holiday. So Jackson Holiday is supposed to be the next best thing. So he's number 2, then shit. But I mean, we've seen this before. So this is the largest deal ever to happen in the MLB. Surpassing was a 6-year, $50 million guarantee for the White Sox, Luis Robert Jr. He's been a dog too, so obviously it's paying off for them. And I think the Braves did this with Acuna too, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard right.
Yeah, they did it with a couple people.
A dog. Yeah,
they did
it.
They did it with a couple people. Some of their other big pieces
Ozzy
from the world. Yeah.
Ozzy Albies, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that sounds right. I don't remember the name. I think they did 2 or 3 other people where they I think it was right after their rookie season. They just went ahead and extended them pretty early on or something of that nature.
Yeah. So yeah, no, definitely a lot of people are just how are you paying this guy this much money? You don't even know if he's gonna make it in the big leagues. But I think it's probably, I mean, you either lose out on that money, or you make a really smart investment, because let's say they turn out to be an Acuna or whatever you want to say, MVP candidate, and you got a steal for this contract. It's do you start thinking about this for the Rangers with Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford? I think Evan Carter extension might be coming up soon, because I think you want to sign him at a pretty cheapish deal.
Yeah, and I think Evan Carter makes sense because he's kind of shown it on the big league level that he can do it, right? I think Wyatt Langford, I would maybe say give him an extended run towards the back end of the season, or give him 2 months in the majors to see if it if he has that capability, which I mean by all means, right? Everything that we've seen at AA, AAA, he does have it, but you want to see it against big league pitching, because I think that's a little bit more than the quality that is seeing down on the farm. So I think Carter, let's lock him up now. I think it makes sense. I think the only concern you can have with him is him batting against lefties. But I think that he's just kind of shown that everything he's done so far has been pretty damn positive. So, I mean, he was a big piece in helping us win the World Series, so why not have him locked up for the
I totally agree. I mean, I think it'd be a smart
6
thing
to
to
8
do.
years,
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, you have him under control until because I think this year doesn't count as his rookie year at all. So this was just
it didn't count. No, it didn't count.
Yeah, it didn't count. So next year's his first official like year as an MLB like player, basically. So you still have his arbitration and all that. But if you try to get him the earliest possible, and obviously you're not gonna try to hold the guy. You're gonna pay him, but you're just gonna hopefully try to get yourself a deal and be like, let's say he becomes an all-star or whatever, like, or just like whatever he's supposed to be, what it looks like right now. So you're saving a lot of money doing that. All right, so now the Shohei saga continues. And sadly, it's not with your Texas Rangers, most likely.
Didn't want him anyway. He's a bum.
Right? Yeah, we didn't talk about him on here.
Didn't want him anyway. He's coming off. He's coming off a Tommy John.
Yeah, go back.
What do you want him for?
Go back and listen, bro. We don't want him. Why the fuck would we pay $500 million for a guy for a DH?
Injury prone.
Come on, bro.
We're gonna do that for
Injury prone. Yeah, come on. Yeah, but what if I told you that he might stay with the Angels?
Good with me. They're a dumpster fire.
I said that too. I think it would bring world peace if he just goes, I'm going to stay at home in Anaheim.
Good. Do it.
That would just...
I'm not worried about
I think that would be the funniest thing ever, dude. If supposedly it seems like he might consider even, like I say, he might consider staying, even though he came out saying that I want to win. And then maybe Ron Washington is like, hey, man.
Is the guy. Yeah, he's the guy.
I've gone twice. Just give me some time. And they did get under the luxury tax too. So the Angels did like save a lot of money and did whatever they did throughout the season, where they traded for the win now guys and they released them. So they did get under the salary tax or luxury tax, what they were trying to do. And I don't know. There was an article today that Shohei is even considering staying in Anaheim.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I just think that's funny.
Where do you think he ends up realistically?
So the teams were Toronto, Dodgers, and who else?
The Cubs.
Oh, Cubs. I forgot about the Cubs. I think there's no way in hell the Toronto Blue Jays sign him.
Yeah, I don't think that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think if they do, from what I heard, I think Vlad Guerrero Jr. is on the move.
Okay,
if
that makes sense.
That does happen. So I just don't like, why Toronto? Where the hell's the market in that?
I mean, I guess like, Vlad was playing a little bit of first this year, if I remember.
Yeah, he plays first.
So like maybe that, but I think still, I think that doesn't make much sense for him to go to Toronto. I don't think that's the team that you want to go to if you want to win now. Because like in that division, right, you got the Yankees, you got the Red Sox, you got the Orioles, you got the Rays. Like that's a stacked division. That's tough to win in. So
yeah,
I don't.
So when I heard Toronto is in, I'm just like, there's no way in hell Toronto. Also, the Cubs, too, like a little bit. I mean, yeah, they're getting there, but they just lost Cody Bellinger. Man, you still don't know where Cody's going to go. But, damn. I mean, I see it as Dodgers. It has to be the Dodgers. If it's not anything else, I think it's going to be the Dodgers. I hate to say it. I
think aside from the obvious, right, with the Dodgers, I could see the Giants. I think the Giants kind of make sense to me. For whatever reason, right? I mean, the West Coast, like kind of staying on the West Coast, but going to another team that's had history, that's a good organization that's won.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's a lot of smoke around the Cubs. Like I think whenever Shohei first came out, it was like basically being on the market. Like it was all Cubs. Like Cubs want to spin. Cubs are going to be the one that are going to have like that real like chance at signing him. So
yeah,
I could see that too. But I think Dodgers is probably the odds-on favorite, right? It has to be.
Yeah. You got to feel for the Giants, too, because they've been so unlucky. They supposedly had signed Aaron Judge for, 3 minutes? Turns out it wasn't right. It wasn't fake. And then it turns out they were going to sign, or they did sign, I think, Carlos Correa last season, too.
Yeah, that was
But then they ran through the physicals and said, yeah, your leg is broken. So I feel like they've been pretty unlucky with free agents, so maybe they're tired of being shat on, you're like, fuck this, dude. We're signing Shohei Ohtani. Which I think that would it wouldn't surprise me, but I think it has to be the Dodgers if it's not the Angels. I mean, I just think it'd be stupid if he goes back to the Angels.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. And then Cease and Glasnow are still out there, big trade pieces. Obviously, you still got Josh Hader still out there. You got Montgomery. Yeah. Oh, well, we'll see. I don't know. It looks like they're not going to spend money. I don't know, bro. I don't know what they're going to do.
That's disgusting. Hate to see that.
I don't know.
Need the pitch.
Yeah, that's really all I got about for baseball, man. Nothing crazy too yet, but Mariners just selling.
Well, no, it is what it is, huh? Let's get the notebooks out. You want to go to a little class? You want to hit a little class?
I guess,
Big
yeah. I
stuff
mean, it's about to
happening in college
be.
football.
I think it's finals are about to happen, right?
Yeah, finals are finally about to happen, and then we transition to the spring semester. A little basketball in the spring. Come on now.
Yeesh, so much madness.
Yes, sir.
I'm
All right,
excited.
yeah, college football playoff, right? Final Four after Championship Sunday came out. I think it was kind of a robbery, in my opinion. I have a lot of hatred right now towards the big media, and that's coming as a Cowboys fan, right? Big media is super anti-Cowboys. I feel like. Well, big media is also super pro SEC. You know.
Oh yeah.
And I think that Florida State, 13-0 ACC champion of a Power 5 conference, Florida State, just got absolutely robbed, in my opinion. I think that you see that ESPN is like, oh, it's the four best teams. It's the four best teams. We're like, oh, okay, you take it back to 2020. Cincinnati was 13-0, won the American Athletic Conference. Oh, but were they one of the four best teams? Like they lost to Alabama in the first round. Like I think to the top four to be Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama. I think I have no problems with Michigan, Washington, Texas. I think those are all fine. They all make sense. They kind of work themselves out. I just think that you have a problem with Florida State and Alabama. I think that the big thing is what is the point of the rankings? Because the week before, I think Florida State was ranked at 4. They were ranked at 3.
I think 4, right?
Yeah, 3 or 4. They were ranked at 3 or 4. Or they were ranked at 4. Yeah, they were ranked at 4. Texas was ranked at 7. Alabama was ranked at 8. Well, okay, I understand Oregon loses. Oregon was ranked up there. They lost. But, like, what's the point of Ohio State being there? What's the point of, Florida State being where they are when, like, Florida State, Texas, and Alabama all won, but Florida State's the one that drops the most? Which, like,
that is crazy.
Texas beat the number 18 or 19th ranked team. Sure.
Oh,
well, Florida State beat the 14th ranked. Florida State beat the 14th ranked team and still dropped. So it doesn't really make much sense. I just have a lot of gripes. I think that ESPN kind of like forced their hand with the SEC championship, and I kind of agree, right? Like I don't think Florida State is one of the top 4 teams, but I think that the resume deserved it. I think they just got absolutely screwed. I think it's bullshit. It's kind of like takes out. This is kind of just ends the sour taste. Ends the 14 playoff in a sour taste because I just think that that's not what was deserved. And Florida State, imagine they win their bowl game. I think they play Georgia. Like if they win, they end up 14-0, and they don't have a shot at the national championship. Like it's just kind of bullshit, in my opinion. So
yeah,
that's soapbox number 1. Number 2, do you want to do a blind resume reaction between quarterbacks for me?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so quarterback number 1. He in the last 3 games he had 436 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Went 3-0 and was a conference championship. A conference champ. Quarterback number 2 had 441 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 3-0 and a conference champ. Which quarterback sounds like they had a better run to the end of the season?
Guess 2. It looks like pretty similar stats over the touchdown and interception ratio.
Yeah, pretty even, right? Well, quarterback 1 is J.J. McCarthy, Michigan's quarterback, and quarterback 2 is the 2 backup quarterbacks of Florida State that they've had each of the last 3 games. So you want to say that, oh, hey, Florida State is out purely because their quarterback is hurt. Well, what are you going to talk about Michigan's quarterback? J.J. McCarthy's bum ass.
I don't even think he throws the ball, does he?
I'm hot, bro. This whole thing has me hot. Like TCU is getting all these shots on saying like, oh, we don't want another blowout. Like we don't want to let in another team that doesn't deserve to be in. Well, fucking I want to say it.
I think TCU's the fall at this, bro.
TCU beat Michigan last year. TCU beat Michigan. For what reason are they getting what is that happening? It makes no sense. There's been other blowouts too, but TCU won a semifinal game. Why are you not bitching at Michigan for not beating TCU? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Last thing, this Alabama team is the team that got in. Oh, well, they beat a 6-6 Central Florida team 17-3. They beat a 7-5 A&M team by 6. They beat a 4-8 team by 3. They barely beat a 6-6 Auburn team by 3. They got lucky on a miracle final play.
Dude, they shouldn't even have won that game.
Exactly. So, I just have a whole lot of problems with with the way that this turned out. I hate Michigan. I don't want them to win. Clearly. I hope Washington wins this all. I hope Washington wins it all because
what if
they're
Texas
the only team
wins?
That they better not, bro.
What if they do? What if they do?
You know what? Honestly, I don't want. I think the team that I want to win the least is Alabama, out of pure principle. I don't want them to win out of pure principle. Second least is Texas because they can't just go to the SEC and win that. No, that just can't happen. So Michigan's the team I want. They're purple. TCU's purple. That's cool. Michael Penix is a stud, so I like that. Lefty can sling the rock too.
Mm-hmm.
Their head coach, crazy. He's had 3 stints as a head coach. In his time as a head coach, I think he's 114-11.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable. Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
So stud. Yeah, man, that's my soapbox for Austin University. I have a lot of soapboxes coming up. So I don't know. I mean, there's some pretty cool bowl games coming up too, which is pretty neat. But I think the playoff just really rubbed me the fucking wrong way.
Yeah.
And I'm already worked up, and I'm about to get worked up again.
Yeah, no. I'll give my opinion real quick. Obviously, me, I'm just I'm a newbie. I don't watch college football as much. I'm getting more into it this year. So I don't know the history or anything behind it. I know there's a lot of people like, oh, they're just like, we just ask for consistency, which is not what's happening. Like, there's a bunch of scenarios, blah, blah, blah. But how I see it is that I personally thought that the only reason they didn't make it was the quarterback situation, right?
Yeah.
For FSU. But also, how I also see it as fucked up is that he was already hurt. You ranked them at 4 coming into this week. That's what's fucked up. You had them ranked at 4. They won their game. Like, what else were they supposed to do? And you dropped them out of it.
What were they supposed to do?
That's crazy, in my opinion. Because if you weren't ranking them properly because of their quarterback, you should have dropped them a while ago. Why keep them in that top 4?
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And it's not like they've already beat, like, they just beat an SEC team in Florida. They've beaten ranked teams already this year. Like, they beat LSU to start the season.
Yeah.
They beat LSU. Their first game was LSU, and they beat them. Wasn't even close. It was a 21-point win. So, I mean, what more could they have done? Like, it's not like they scheduled cupcakes all season. Like, they beat LSU. They beat Florida. They beat Louisville, who was a top 15 team at the time. Like, and they did,
with a good offense too.
With a third-string quarterback. Their third-string quarterback beat a top 15 opponent. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Wow. Yeah. So,
I'm fed up. This leads me to YDKB. If you guys don't know, so you don't know ball. I got a lot. This is kind of like a therapy session for me right now because I have a lot of, like, my gears have been grinded.
Yeah.
I got a lot of bones.
Everyone listening to Austin's therapy session, the Talking Doctor.
All right, number one, all of ESPN. So I was at the gym the other day, and I was looking at the TV because they have the TVs on. And this was Friday morning after the Cowboys just won, big game. And Get Up, the headline says, "Will the Cowboys defense hold the team back from reaching the Super Bowl?" The same defense, right? That has been supposedly carrying this team. The same defense that up until this week had a DPOY candidate. The same defense that has, like, single-handedly, like, shut out numerous teams. The same defense that has Micah Parsons, who's a game wrecker. I can't do it, dude. I can't. Like,
it gets worse.
Just like, ridiculous.
They never seem to amaze me. The more
the Cowboys are successful, the worse it gets.
Yeah. They need to find something. They know what, if it bleeds, it leaks, bro. They know what gets it. Yeah, they know what does it.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy.
Second thing, all of ESPN again, because they're basically campaigning for Alabama and Georgia to get in the college football playoff because they own the media rights to SEC.
Oh.
So, want to hear something crazy? So after all the conference championship games, the odds for Florida State to make the college football playoff was minus 600. So that's implied odds of 85% that they're making that they were making the college football playoff. This was
after
at like
all
10
the
p.m. on
ended.
Saturday night. Immediately after all the games ended, that was it.
Minus
Alabama
600.
was plus 180. Yeah, Alabama at the time was plus 180 to get into the playoffs. So that's 35% odds is what the math kind of checks out to. Just before the so overnight, right? They have their whole shows like, oh, who's gonna make it in? 80% of the talking heads on ESPN said that they have Alabama and Georgia making it into the playoff. 80% of the people that were talking over Florida State. And that causes the odds to shift. And I think right before the Pick'em show turned on live, they were both at -110, Florida State and Alabama. That's how much the odds went.
Oh my god.
And
Holy crap.
if you don't think that ESPN owning the media rights to the SEC and having an SEC bias doesn't affect that, I think it's just so obvious and it's ridiculous. It's disgusting. Whether or not I agree that Alabama is, sure, they probably are in the top 4 teams, and I think they have a really good shot at winning the national championship. I'm not denying that. I just think that the way they got there is scummy. I think the way that ESPN handled this whole situation is disgusting. They just have no reason, and just I think it's blatant manipulation on ESPN's right, because they purely want their like media rights team couldn't have a college football playoff without the SEC because they couldn't lose the money. Okay, moving on to the next one.
Yeah,
DraftKings.
So there's a lot of them.
You don't know ball. Yeah, DraftKings. Because Brock Purdy's the odds-on favorite to MVP. I don't know what. I mean, I laid out a whole case earlier on why that's ridiculous. I mean, what, first in yak per completion at 6.6 compared to Dak Prescott, who's at 4.7. Again, they're probably owned by ESPN too, or they're probably part of ESPN Bet. So yeah, DraftKings. That's my biggest. I have a gripe with you right now. 2 more. These 2 really pissed me off.
Who else do you have a gripe with?
These two last people really pissed me off. This was a week ago. I'm gonna start with him. This was a week ago, Tuesday. Emmanuel Acho. His MVP ballot. This was as of Tuesday last week. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Tua, Trent fucking Williams, and Lamar Jackson.
That's crazy.
In what universe is a left
Dak Prescott?
In what universe does a left tackle have an MVP vote over Dak Prescott? In what universe? I don't know what he's smoking. Is he on meth? I don't know. I'm impressed.
These are the guys that get paid, by the way.
They're voting. They're the ones voting. These are the people that are voting.
We're so cooked.
All right. Last one. This might be the most egregious one that I've seen. This might be the most egregious one. LaShawn Shady McCoy, ex-Philadelphia Eagle. He said, for Dak Prescott to prove he's the MVP, he has to throw picks and have fumbles so I can see how he responds. Why do you want him to do that? Why? You want him to do that? That way you can say, oh, he's throwing interceptions. He's fumbling the ball. Oh, he should be our MVP. For what reason? It makes no sense. It's so like you have a star like that's just like shroud like covering your face to say like, oh, well, he needs to suck so he can do better. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense, dude. What are we doing?
And when he sucks, it's like, oh, he sucks, right? He called him shit. Or they called him ass. He said Dak's ass.
What are we doing, bro? Like these are the people that get paid millions of dollars to talk on television all day. It doesn't make any sense. Like all I want is just consistency, right? If Josh Allen is having the same season that Dak Prescott is right now, sure, I'd be on the Josh Allen train too. Sure. But no, Josh Allen has 15 interceptions and 12 fumbles, and Josh Allen's a leading MVP candidate. Or, Jalen Hurts is getting like groped by men and pushed in the end zone 6 times a season and has less than 2,500 yards, but he's an MVP candidate. Like Trent Williams. Have a left tackle as an MVP candidate in my head, like I'm done, dude. Do you have any more to talk about this episode? Do you have any YDKBs, or can we close this off? Because I'm pissed.
Nah, you went off on this, man. I don't know if anyone else is going to beat this YDKB in the history of Austin and Ollie.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've had this, and I really just need to get some stuff off my chest.
No, for sure.
To get some stuff off my chest. Well,
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope you guys stuck around to this. I feel like it's passionate. We care.
It was a great yap sesh, bro.
We may be Cowboys fans and we may be delusional, but I promise you, we're gonna be fair about our team. I really do promise you that.
Especially me. You know
and
me.
If Dak Prescott was having a dog shit season, and I think we were getting overhyped, like I genuinely think both of us would say it. Like we really would.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the signs are showing this. Like we've talked about how we've had an easy schedule. We've talked about how we haven't played a beating winning team. Like we agree. We understand.
Yeah.
We're not here just to blow smoke everybody's asses.
And we're about to find out in the next 4 weeks. This month is about to be, man.
That's about to be it.
We're about to find out. We're about to find out. It's about to get real.
Anyway, that was my, I guess, gripe session. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to call it. But anyway, that is another episode of Austin and Ollie Sports Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Everything's in the show notes. We're also on, Google Podcasts, if that's your thing. I think we're on iHeartRadio podcast, maybe too. We're on all of them. We're on all right.
We're everywhere, man. We're worldwide.
We're worldwide. So, give us a listen. Tell your friends. Check us out. But until next time, guys, we'll see you guys. Peace.